Welcome to Farm Charm Chic. I'm Emily. In today's episode, I am so excited to share with you 3 fall-themed DIYs that are chic, beautiful, and super easy to create. If you are looking to sprinkle a little bit of autumn magic into your home decor, I have you covered. And it is a collaboration video, so grab your favorite fall drink, I don't know, maybe a warm cider, pumpkin latte, and let's dive into these simple yet stunning DIYs that will leave you feeling inspired and totally in season for fall. If you like crafting, DIYs, dupes, hacks, thrift flips, or just creating in general, I would love if you would consider subscribing. When you do see your favorite project in today's video, remember to hit that thumbs up, but let's go make some DIYs. Whenever I visit antique stores or vintage market days, I always look for some little Jell-O molds or little cake pans like this. You can find them everywhere, and they run just a couple of dollars, $1 or $2 sometimes. And I thought it would be fun to turn some of the mini ones into some cute little pumpkins. Now, I did learn as I was painting my first one that the paint does not want to stick to that metal. The chalk paint didn't. So I'm going over this one with just a layer of Mod Podge. This is going to add some texture for the paint to grab onto, and it did work a lot better. So if you are painting these, put a layer of Mod Podge on them first, let that cure completely, and then go in with your paint. It's going to help a lot better to have everything, all that paint stick, and that way when you're adding a second coat, it's not going to rub that paint off, or you're not going to have chips or anything like that. This would also be so fun to do like a crackle medium on, I think. I think next time I do this, I will try that. Now I'm doing these in 2 different colors. I'm doing the pumpkin color and then more of kind of like a sagey green color or a light. I think it's eucalyptus is actually what it's called. And then I'm going in after the paint has dried with some antiquing wax on a brush to kind of rub this all over and get that in all of the little teeny nooks and crannies, the crevices that are naturally in these pans. Totally up to you. I do just love the texture that this gives to do this. And I'll go all the way over the pan, and then I will kind of wipe it back so that way it just settles in all of the little inset areas. I do the same thing with the green pumpkin here. Now you could do all sorts of different sizes. I've done traditional size bundt pans into pumpkins. I've done larger Jell-O molds. I'm not sure if these are like little dessert cups or little like tart molds. You'll have to tell me what they are. I just know that when I go to vintage market days, there are several booths that have just like boxes of these, and you can usually get them for, like I said, $1 or $2. Sometimes they'll have like a deal where you get like fill a little bag full for $5. But I just think they're so fun to have for different projects. Now I got out an old toothbrush and I got some white paint, and I went ahead and made it really liquidy, and I'm just going to do a little bit of a splatter on here as an extra textural element. Again, something that is personal preference. I just wanted to give it a try to see what it looks like, and I liked it so much I ended up doing it on both of them. Now my lighter green color, it doesn't show up as much, so you could even do like a darker color if you wanted, but I really did like the way it ended up looking on both. But you just want to be careful to not get too splotchy. I mean, they're kind of a fine medium, and I think the more that you do this, you're going to get better and kind of know what you like and know what you don't like. So practice makes perfect on a technique like this. Now I have some little sticks that I gather at my farm. I love this time of year to be using all of those sticks for different projects. So I'm just using some little dog trimmers, like they're like dog toenail trimmers from Dollar Tree, to trim down the size of stick that I wanted for my stem here. And I'm just going to use a little bit of hot glue to get that stem glued right onto each of these little pumpkins. And you can have so much fun with this. You could take stems off of other pumpkins that you might have that you like. You can just go, sticks are free, so go find you some fun sticks to use. You can even use the ends of your little sponge paint brushes if you want. Cut those down to size. There are so many options for getting some little stems on your pumpkins. I do put a little ring of glue around the stem and add a little Spanish moss. I love Spanish moss on the top of pumpkins. It adds a really fun element with the fun vines and tendrils that you get on pumpkins. And I feel like a lot of stuff naturally will just settle around the stem of a pumpkin. So I love adding that in there. It kind of hides your glue. And I really think it's just a fun element. You might want to trim it up a bit as I'm doing here. Sometimes the lid can get a little long. And it just kind of depends on the vibe that you're going for. Now, one hack that I always share is when I am doing my florals, I will always save all those little bits and pieces, little odds and ends that you cut or trim off, save them in a bag with the season of florals that you're working with. So then when you're working on little projects like this, you just pull out that bag and you have little flowers or little berries or different things to choose from for little projects, and you don't have to go and cut apart like any of your new bigger floral picks or anything like that. So that's what I did here. I just found some cute little odds and ends that would work for these. I kind of went with the color scheme of each pumpkin to match that as best I could, and just glued some little berries, some little leaves and flowers. And look at how cute these turned out. What a fun little way to turn these into a pumpkin. You might even have a whole box full of these, or you're going through grandma's house and you might find some that nobody's going to use anymore, and voila, you can make some darling cute little pumpkins. They're so fun. They'd be perfect for a tiered tray, and I think they would be perfect to tuck into your kitchen shelf somewhere and have as a fun little fall decor item. What do you guys think of these? Today's video is part of a fall collaboration. I am working with Liana from Liana DIY and also Yelena from DIY Next Door. Both of their channels are so fun and they do such great DIYs. You guys, there's going to be a playlist for these videos today, so all you have to do is look in my comments. It's going to be pinned there, as well as posted in my description box, a link to the playlist. You'll click on that and it will take you over and play both Liana and Yelena's video for you, so you can see all of the fun fall ideas they have for you. Let's get right back into the DIYs. I want to make a Halloween banner to hang out. And you could do fall, you could do Christmas, you could do like summer and florals. The basics are the same here. So on Amazon, you'll be able to find printable iron-on transfer paper. Now, you can also find this at Hobby Lobby and at Michael's. Walmart carries it as well. And so any craft store, I think you'd be able to find this. And this is what allows you to use your inkjet printer, print a design, and then you're just using your iron, your heat press, whatever, to transfer onto your fabric. Now we need to find some cute designs to put on here. So I love using the Graphics Fairy website. So this is her website here. I just typed in Halloween, and all of these different categories come up. You can see that you can get different kids, different witches, different pumpkins, all sorts of different crafting ideas to use them for. If you are not familiar with the Graphics Fairy website, get yourself familiar with it. It's fantastic. She's done a beautiful job curating all of these different vintage designs to be able to use. And she does have some subscription-based content here, but most of this is free for you to use. They're just pictures that are in like the archives, like that have, they're not copyrighted or anything, that time frame's run out. So she's just curated all of these images for you to get and to use. Of course, anytime I use any of her projects, I will let you guys know that I've gotten them from her website. But all you do is you're going to click on an image once you found it, and you're going to save it to your photos or save it to your downloads. Save it somewhere in your computer where you're going to easily be able to find it to make your image. Look at how cute some of these are. Now my banner, I want the images to be a vertical type shape like this right here. This is one of my most favorites. And so I was looking for images of that shape. But of course, if you're making a pillow, a dish towel, a t-shirt, a sweatshirt, a tote bag, the possibilities are endless. This is just some drop cloth that I picked up at Lowe's. It was about $17 for this size. And you guys, I will probably have this drop cloth for literal years to make projects from, because it lasts a very long time. I've already made probably 12 different projects from just this drop cloth, and I haven't even made a dent in how much of it there is. Now, I did not measure anything out very specifically. I found this pamphlet that was the size that I wanted to use to cut out my design. So I used that to cut out my first sheet, and then I just use each sheet, stacking it on top of the next to cut these out. So nothing super measury or scientific there. It's very rustic. But I do just kind of fray the edges. Drop cloth naturally wants to fray once you've cut into it, which gives it that beautiful farmhouse kind of rustic look. Now, I am using my heat press to press these. You do not have to have a heat press to do these. You can use just a regular iron. You can use like your Cricut heat press or a mini heat press. You do need something that gets warm or hot like an iron does though. And you'll read the instructions on your paper to determine how high or how hot it needs to be. Now, keep in mind that my paper here that I had, I do not have to have my image reversed. So you'll want to read if this is a paper that you're putting front down. If you need to reverse your image, you'll need to do that in Canva or Word. And if you guys would like me to do a tutorial on how to do that, I would be happy to. Just let me know down in the comments, and I will do a video solely on how to size or convert, like reverse your image. But you're just going to place these in the center of each of your little banner flags that you cut out here and transfer that image with your paper right onto them. I mean, can you think about how cute, like sweatshirts or tote bags or pillows? I mean, there's so many fun things that you can do with using this transfer paper. Now, I'm using my Crocodile to put some grommets in here. You could just cut some little holes or anything in here, or fold over the fabric and glue it to make a little tube, so that way you could run your string through there or your twine. But I really wanted that grommet look in there. I kind of like the aged feel it has. And so that way the drop cloth itself, the integrity of it won't be compromised because you've got that set grommet in there. So I'm just feeding some twine through here, and look at how cute this looks. What a fun way to make a customized project to hang in your home. Now, I could jazz this up a bit with some different ribbon or embellishments if I wanted to. I just love the simplicity of this and the fact that I was able to pull images that I love and use. And I could do this for a Christmas banner or just specifically fall if we wanted to do that. I love to mix my fall and Halloween decor, so that's why I went a little more Halloween-y with this one. But I love how this turns out, and it is a fairly simple project that you can customize and make your own decor just pop that much more. Let me know what you guys think of this one down in the comments. I would love to hear. I am so excited with how this DIY turns out, and it's kind of questionable through the process. It was one of those I had to trust the process, and the end product is beautiful. So stay with me on this. This is just using some of the styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree and a little bit of spackling, and I added a little bit of water to my spackling so it was a little bit more the consistency of like cake frosting. But you're going to have some texture in there with some little pieces of the spackling that kind of makes it look like the warty pumpkins that you've seen. So that's totally fine if your spackling is not smooth. In fact, you don't want it smooth. You want it to have more of that texture. But I'm just kind of spreading it over the pumpkin like frosting. I end up putting on some gloves because it does get a little messy. And I'm just covering all of the areas, trying to make sure that I don't need full coverage here to cover the orange. I just need coverage where it matches texture. So if I miss like a spot on the styrofoam, you're going to notice. So I just want to make sure that all of the styrofoam has a little bit of the spackling over it so the texture matches. You can kind of just see how I'm going all over like this. It's definitely messy, so just be aware of that. Now this pumpkin right here, this is completely dried, 24 hours, the spackling. I even took it outside and set it on my trampoline so I could make sure that the sun kind of really dried it well. And I'm covering it completely with some elephant chalk paint. I want this to kind of have almost like a concrete look. Now this particular one right here is another one that I had done, and I'm also painting it. So I've done two separate styrofoam pumpkins, same process, and I am painting my second one now with the same elephant chalk paint. So I'm just showing you here that I have two different ones, and I'm going to kind of do a little bit of a different technique on both of them. Either way, you just want to make sure that your spackling has completely dried, and then also let your paint dry before you move on to the next step. So on this one, I'm taking some more plaster and I'm going to spread this over my pumpkin. I know that I wanted a two-tone look with the white and the gray, and so I wanted to test out two different methods here, and I honestly don't have a preference over which one I like the best. I will say that this one has a more sturdy feel once it's done, but not enough that you would notice between the two and think that it was better than the other. So whichever method you feel like you would like to try, follow that, because they both turn out beautifully, but just slightly different. So I'm just covering this. I just wanted to be able to see a little bit of that gray peeking through. Again, kind of like a concrete feel. Now on this next one, I decided instead of doing another layer of the plaster, I wanted to just do paint and see if it works the same, because I thought, well, maybe this would be a little bit easier, and this method is a little bit easier, less messy. So it just kind of, again, depends on which one you think suits your type of DIY that you want to try. So I'm just going over with white paint. This would be fun to try with some different colors, I think. But honestly, at this point, I'm going, these just look, I just was not sure about how this was going. But I always say trust the process, and I did. And oh my gosh, I just love these. Especially if you're a crafter who likes to sell things for different boutiques or craft fairs, shows that you do. You could definitely do these. You'll have to do like kind of batch them and do the spackling on a bunch, let that dry for a day, and then move on to the next step. So it is something that'll take you a little bit of time, but you could easily do several of these, and I think that you could have a really good return for how much you've paid to make these. I think you could charge a very decent amount for these. So now I'm just moving on to the next step here, just touching up any area that I want to make sure that there's paint on. I will say that if you don't let these completely dry and you're painting them like this, what will happen is it will start to peel back. So if you notice that, just stop, let it dry some more, and then move on to the next step. I was even using my heat tool. You can kind of see at the bottom where some of that was lifting up because the bottom where it had set down hadn't dried completely. Really easy to fix though. Again, I just dried it and then just covered it with paint, and you cannot even tell. The fun part about these pumpkins is the texture that you're creating, and you really want to define that texture, almost like it's like this modern organic feel to these pumpkins. And so I just really, really wanted that warty texture we've created to really pop. So I felt like there was a little too much white. So I'm just taking my elephant chalk paint brush that has just a little bit. So I'm almost like dry brushing over the top of these. And that texture is so thick and so rich, it just picks up all of that little bit that's left in the brush and really defines that. Now, on the flip side of that, if you feel like you have too much white, you can go back in, too much gray, you can go back in with your white brush and do the same technique. In fact, you can go back and forth until you get your desired look. Just make sure you let it dry in between each time, so that way you're not smearing the paint. You're getting that true definition between the two. I just absolutely love how this texture looks. You can see here between the two how that gray pops on that one on the right. So I just decided to do the same thing with this other one and make sure that all of that texture pops with the gray on this one. So I just do that same thing, dry brushing over this one. After you've got your desired texture on there and the colors and everything, and it's completely dry, I'm going to go in here, and this is where you can have so much fun making this look like a pumpkin and adding whatever details you would like. I really wanted to go for a very, very neutral feel with these. So these are just a couple of sticks from my yard or my farm that I have that I love to use for pumpkin stems this time of year. And since these are those styrofoam pumpkins from Dollar Tree, you can just push those in. They will go right into the top, and then a little bit of hot glue holds them in place. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of Spanish moss over the top. That's just going to add a little bit of softness and texture. And you guys know that I love to use Spanish moss in fall DIYs, especially with pumpkins, because I feel like it does look like it just goes. It feels like it's the curly, cute little vines that you get with your pumpkins. It's a good color for fall, and especially where I'm trying to stick with the neutral tones here, it's really good. So you can see with this one here, I'm just a little bit of glue. I kind of put my little stick askew so it's not quite straight up. It's kind of off to the side. You can have so much fun doing all of these details with these pumpkins here. And then I'm just going to place the Spanish moss here and kind of push that stem where I want it situated off to the side there, and just kind of let that dry.
I'm taking a little bit of barn wire. This is just fencing wire. You can use whatever kind of wire that you would like, or you can even skip using the wire and do, as you'll see me in a moment, use a little bit of pitberry on them or something. I just felt like this wire really kind of brought that modern farmhouse touch into it. Looks like the little tendril curlicue vines that you get on the pumpkins naturally, and it just adds another element into it. And all I do is I just kind of bend it almost into like a U shape with the both ends of the wire. I'm just sticking that into the styrofoam, going around my stem a little bit and sticking the other end right down into the styrofoam. And so that way you're not having any sharp edges exposed or anything like that. You can touch those with some glue if you want to have them stay a little bit more permanent on there. But honestly, if you stick them down in far enough, they're not going to be coming out unless you were to like pull on them. Now on this second one over here, this is where I started to do some of the pitberry. I have some white. If you wanted to bring a color in, you could, but I just really, again, wanted these to be very neutral looking. And so I'm just going to curl these around just a little paintbrush here to get the curlicue vines on those. I'll snip it off there. And then I do the exact same thing. I just stick that wire, since these are on a wire, down into the styrofoam and just kind of curl that around the stem, and I'll stick the other end back down into that styrofoam. I just love how these are looking. You'll have to let me know what you think of these. These were so fun to create, and I really just wanted just a fun, something a little bit different. I don't know. I'm so excited to put these in my decor. I just think they're so fun. In fact, I liked the pitberry on the one so much, I decided to kind of do another little bit to put on the other one, because I really thought they looked cute with that. And then in that same vein, I take a little bit of the fencing wire that I have and put a little bit of that onto the other pumpkin, so that way they're almost identical in the way that I did each of them. So if you're batch doing these, you're wanting to sell these, make it as easy as possible, make them all look the same, or you could even do a little bit different, something to speak to different buyers, different colors. But I just really think these turn out so cute. I am so pleased with how these turned out. They are exactly what I wanted them to be. You would never know that these were the Dollar Tree styrofoam pumpkins underneath here. Just look at that beautiful texture that you get on these, and just think of all the different possibilities you could do with different tones or colors that you wanted to play around with. I just think this is just such a fun, different way, different treatment to do for these pumpkins, and I just think they turn out beautiful. Very classy and high-end, in my opinion. I just think they're going to be so fun to have in my fall decor. I would love to know what you guys think of these.
Thank you so much for joining me for today's video. Please don't forget that this is a playlist which is pinned in my comments as well as posted in my playlist. Thank you so much to Liana from Liana DIY and also to Yelena from DIY Next Door for joining for this playlist together today. I hope you check out their videos and all of their fun fall DIYs that they have made for you. As you can tell, I'm battling a little bit of a cold, so I apologize for that and the way that my voice sounds today. Hopefully I can get rested up and get right back to creating more DIYs to share with you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed all of these projects. Remember to hit that thumbs up and like and subscribe if you do want to see more content from my channel. We'll see you next time. Happy crafting!
If you like the video that you just saw and you want to keep crafting together, here's another video that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you next time.